Gordon Hill is a bit of an unusual station, as I feel not many people in London outside of the local area know where this is. You might think this is a pretty standard station with two platforms right on the very edge of the London suburbs, but there is a disused platform which back in the day would have seen trains ran from here to a now demolished London terminus station that would have sat right next to Liverpool Street, called Broad Street. Not only does Gordon Hill have a disused platform, but it has an extra third platform as well, which sees use by trains during peak times that terminate here. I don't think you get any 3-car trains down here anymore though. If you ever come here to Gordon Hill, it's worth checking out the waiting room, as there's a lot of history and information of the railway that ran through here. And you can pick up a book if you'd like to. And I'm liking this map here on the platform. Welcome to Gordon Hill, gateway to the green belt, showing a lot of the areas of which we're going to be walking through today. Gordon Hill station is the only one on this line in London which I have not used, which means now I only have one station on this entire line left, and that is Bayford. We're not going there today though. This is where I'm starting my walk. And we start off the walk by entering Lavender Hill Cemetery, as there's something in here which I want to find that has something to do with the railway. So Lavender Hill Cemetery turns into Strayfield Road Cemetery, but there's no entrance into this one, as I had a look before to just come across a completely padlocked shut gate. But between the two cemeteries runs the Turkey Brook, brilliantly named Turkey Brook, which is a tributary of the River Lee. What we've come here to see is actually quite hard to spot, which is odd because it's quite a majestic structure. It is a railway viaduct. That's probably the best shot I'm going to get of it. Yeah, it's that tricky to access. They do seem like they're building a brand new footpath, which I think part of it exists on the other side of the viaduct. Maybe you get a better view on that side. Potentially it's going to run through to here, but it also says it was due to be completed by March, which has not happened. So maybe we'll come back another day and give the viaduct another go. I've never seen an 8-mile-per-hour road sign before here in the cemetery. I've left Lavender Hill Cemetery the same way that I came in. I'm now walking through some of the outer London suburbs in a place called Chaseside, by some rather grim old tower blocks, if I'm being honest. Well, they weren't lying about the name with Gordon Hill and Lavender Hill, because you do actually get a view of Canary Wharf far off in the distance down there. I've come across the New River, which is neither new nor a river. It was an aqueduct built in 1613 to bring fresh drinking water from Hertfordshire down into London. You can walk the entire aqueduct, about 28 miles, and it's very worth to do so. I've done that myself, and this through here in Enfield is one of my favourite sections of it. You'll find lots of references to Chase around this area, as it was a former royal hunting ground. This green space here, Chase Green Gardens, is a little pocket of that grounds which escaped the development. And of course there's Enfield Chase Station as well, which the 231 bus terminates outside of, which is not here right now and is the only one to do so. The original Enfield Chase Station would have been around here and acted as the terminus in 1877 when the line opened. However, in 1910, when it was extended further north, a new station was built right next door on the line up to Cuffley, where trains ran originally. Look quite shoddy from the back, these platforms. This is Chain Walk open space, of which the Salmons Brook passes through, another brilliant name. And much like the Turkey Brook, this is also a tributary of the River Lee. This brilliant old building here is part of the old Highlands Hospital, where in 1993 it was converted to apartments. I like that they kept the old building rather than demolish it and build entirely new ones. A lot of the other buildings around here are built in a similar style and make up the Highlands Village, of which the W9 bus passes through. They forced the W9 bus to serve this area, as in both directions they do a loop of the village, so that's why you can catch the same route in two different directions from the same bus stop. Up until only a few days ago, Route W9 was operated by Sullivan buses, which ceased operations with TfL, so there was a couple of days of service disruption, and the route has now been taken over by Stagecoach. It was almost exactly 6 years ago that I rode the W9 route, which I can't quite believe. I remember finding that this place was quite strange. It's my first time actually walking through this area. I've been back here since I did that bus. Tucked away in the suburbs here, you have Boxers Lake, which forms part of the Glen Brook. And here is the Glen Brook itself. It's a rather narrow and forgotten watercourse, and not particularly long, but we are going to follow it for as much as possible. That was a nice path to take alongside the Glen Brook, but I've reached a point where it's making its confluence with the Salmon Brook. You gain a real sense of how all of these rivers and brooks and watercourses, streams, so many words to describe them, all connect. Because, you know, Enfield Chase is a high piece of land, and there's a lot of springs in the area. A lot of these watercourses stem from places around here. At this point, I stumbled across an abandoned property beside a footpath that was open and very easy to access, so I was not going to miss the opportunity to have a look inside. There are a few buildings dotted around the property, and I just found it odd that after all this time, they're just there and you can go in and they haven't been redeveloped or anything. You know, at the entrance to this footpath, there was a security guard in his car who let me come down here because he knew that this was a way through, but it didn't look promising, and now it's completely overgrown. There's no way through, and it says private property over there, so I think I'm gonna have to just turn back because yeah, this is not possible to walk through at all. I figured on the return that I might as well take the opportunity to check out the main attraction, the main abandoned building here that seems like it used to be a care home. This one though, I didn't go in. It looked quite tricky to get in anyways, and also, to be fair, rather dangerous. It's so weird because you could walk straight in and like there's nothing stopping you at all, and yet it seems like it's a footpath, but it isn't. Bit awkward walking right past the guy after he allowed me to walk down because he knew that there was a footpath and there just isn't one. Well, on with the walk, I guess, and luckily I knew that there was another path to take me where I need to go. So after walking around the very edge of the London suburbs all day, I now find myself on the Merry Hills Way, which takes me out into some beautiful countryside. And on the Merry Hills Way is where I'm getting my third and final view of the Salmons Brook, though at this point it's very, very dried out, apart from here. And from one abandoned location to another, I've now come across the old Slades Hill Army Camp, and there's quite a lot left here to see. I say there's a lot left to see, but actually most of it is just brick walls that remain and have been reclaimed by nature. But it's cool to walk around and explore this. Again, it's just another place that's open. You can just walk around it. It's quite bizarre, to be honest. Feels like a place that you shouldn't be walking through, but you absolutely can. I saw on the map that there is a gun and pistol club around here, so when I saw these old buildings I thought it might be something to do with that, maybe even like an old gunpowder mill or something, but no, it is part of an army camp. So along with the Merry Hills Way footpath which I'm following, there is also a Merry Hills Brook which is down there and is a tributary of the Salmons Brook. There's a great stretch of countryside that I'm getting to walk along here, which is way different than all of the suburban streets which I've been following. However, there is a plan to turn all of this greenbelt land into new houses, which is a shame because when I saw these fields on the map, that basically inspired this walk because I wanted to know if you could access it or not. It turns out you can, but for how much longer? Kind of defeats the purpose of greenbelt land if you build on this. It'd be a shame to lose all of this beautiful countryside. Here's the Merry Hill Brook again. Our last sighting of it now that I'm here in Trent Park. I'm a big fan of Trent Park, and now that I'm here I'd like to explore it more on another day. Perhaps when a new development is finished, because that's taking place currently. And it just occurred to me that if the new development was to take place on the Greenbelt land, we would probably lose that abandoned place we came across at first, and then also the army camp. As you leave Trent Park, you get one of my favourite views of any tube station because it suddenly just appears out of nowhere and it's such a majestic structure. So this is part of the Piccadilly line, and to keep up with the World War II defence structures like the army camp we saw earlier, there's actually a pillbox tucked back there beside the train depot. This is Oakwood, one of my favourite stations on the network. I just like the huge box-like structure that it has, and it's the only one to have a black background for the station sign rather than the typical TfL blue. My favourite feature of Oakwood Station has to be this old sign which lists a bunch of stations that have select opening times. Nowadays all 272 stations across the network are open all week round, but that wasn't the case back in the day, and this is old enough that it even has some stations which no longer exist, such as Blakehall or Aldwych, and predates the Hammersmith and City line as that is not shown at Barbican, for example. And our final park of the day is Oakwood Park, though it's quite a way up from the station. Oakwood Park's most notable feature is this ice well, which many years ago were constructed on large estates for the collection of ice during the winter months. The estate in question here was Oak Lodge, which essentially gives its name to Oakwood. There's a dried out pond here in Oakwood Park. Can't get to it because the gate is padlocked shut. So I couldn't exactly get a good shot of the viaduct near the beginning of the walk, but I found another one here for the Piccadilly line which is much more smaller, but I hope it suffices. And that viaduct leads into a tunnel where trains serve the next station, but afterwards in a slightly longer tunnel they re-emerge for one more stop, before then heading underground again as it makes its way through London and to the other side. And I've made it to the end of my North London adventure at the next station, Southgate, which has one of the most iconic station buildings on the network. Perhaps that's why I think Oakwood is a little bit overlooked. It's such an icon that it's even going to appear on the new maquette seat fabric of the new Piccadilly line trains, which should hopefully be introduced next year. In fact, part of the line between Wood Green and Cockfosters is going to be closed for the last couple of weeks of August to allow work to take place that has to do with the introduction of the new trains. The last time I was here at Southgate was last year, and it was to do with the station as it was celebrating its 90th anniversary, though I'll admit I was tempted to visit because they were giving away free cake. Shouldn't have to tell me no parking, 'cause it's on a double yellow line anyways. What's the point in that?